11 months later, and I still get emails from that guy. Not that I'm surprised. 20 years from now, I will still be getting more. The long white sausage. What? Was somebody already called the long white meat whistle? A female luge participant had her father stand trial on charges of being a child molester. I don't think that they'll be making an Olympic moment vignette about that. And for the record, Bob Costas does not write and produce those vignettes. He merely introduces them. Mike Tyson said that he wanted to fight in Beirut. Sounds about right. A high school coach in Tahoe charged with providing alcohol to team members. Parents found out about the incident when drunk students made sex tapes on the team bus. Anton Apollo Ono was famous for about 3 seconds. Remember him? Yet neither do I. The Indians changed their logo for the upcoming season. Well, sort of. The Indian with the giant red face, huge teeth, grinning hysterically with the feather in his head was still there. And why would any Native American find that offensive? Rickey Henderson signed with the Red Sox. Great. I hope he plays another 40 seasons. As long as Rickey keeps doing interviews, Rickey gets to keep talking. We were introduced to golf course rage. One man attacked another on the golf course and shanked him with a busted putter shaft. The stabbee wanted to play through. The stabber wasn't hearing it. Next thing you know, the guy's in there having a Scotty Cameron removed from his chest. The figure skating controversy between the Canadians and the commies was front page news for about a month. I didn't care then, and I care even less now. You might recall also in that month of February, Chris Webber, not happy when asked about Tyra Banks.
You can write what I write down word for word right now, and you can get me on the camera, and you can repeat this to the editor of the beat, or whatever y'all want to do. Since the first day I came here, I done gave y'all interviews, I done did every thing y'all wanted, and y'all gonna violate me like that? And I know everybody didn't do it. But everybody has to pay for it. Just like the whole team gotta run suicides, the only place there's nothing to do is you gonna live my life. Who the I'm dating, where the I go? I play basketball for y'all. I don't live for y'all.
There's a lot of F-bombs. There was a soccer riot in Afghanistan. Soccer in Afghanistan. It's like matches and gasoline. Jason Williams murdered a limo driver. Allegedly. Reportedly, not how he was hoping to start the year out. Not only did he shoot and kill the driver, reportedly, he tried to cover it up and make it look like a suicide. Then he forced his friends, apparently, to lie as well. Nice guy. And a real good idea to give home tours with a loaded firearm. It's all fun and games until somebody blows a hole in the limo driver. Dude is in serious trouble. One woman, 38, in Massachusetts, kicked another woman's ass, 51, who brought too many items into the express line. That's normal. Olympic wrestler Rulon Gardner, a very good guy, got lost in the woods and nearly froze to death and had to have some of his toes cut off because of frostbite. Wow. That was sad. Not good. Doc Gooden, busted for DUI. And maybe he had to wash down another sandwich. So much for the long road to recovery. Bob Gibson, cut off by another motorist, followed him for several miles, got out of his car, and kicked his ass. Gibby is 66. Moral of the story, don't ever mess with Bob Gibson. And I mean ever. I don't care if he is 66. The guy who got the beat down was 45. Yeah, hell, he probably deserved it. Jose Canseco tried to play the outfield for the Montreal Expos. It did not go well. He was cut. Former Dodgers owner, you might remember this, Peter O'Malley, beat Tiger Woods in the first round of the World Match Play. Well, Maybe it wasn't that Peter O'Malley, but somebody with that name did. Antonio Alfonseca, sued by a woman for, quote, inappropriately, end of quote, touching her. And I think by inappropriate, they meant that he touched her with that sixth finger. That would certainly be inappropriate. How many donuts have you had, Brian? Come on. Whitey's had 3, and I've seen him go literally months without eating. Sarah Hughes won the gold in figure skating. Unless figure skating has a white trash porno queen involved, I'm really not all that interested. Sorry, Sarah, you're a great gal, great skater, great family. Doesn't interest me at all. Colin Montgomery announced that he was no longer going to play in America. Unfortunately, he did not keep his promise. Lafitte Pinkai appeared in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition with his wife. The wife was holding a whip. Very subtle. Not nearly as subtle, though, as the woman with a giant bottle between her legs next to a condom ad. Very wholesome. That thing should be behind the counter, wrapped in plastic. Pokey Reese accused Ken Griffey of being a bad guy. Yeah, like that was news. John Rocker appeared in a movie called The Greenskeeper. He played a homicidal maniac. Yeah, talk about typecasting. Maybe for his next role, he could play a racist relief pitcher who can't get anybody out. Rafael Palmeiro debuted as the new pitchman for Viagra. At first he said that he did not use or need the stuff. Sure, lots of people are going to do crank commercials even though they don't use the stuff. Take your little blue miracle and go away. And more importantly, stay away from your teammates' wives. Ray Caruth spent 10 days in solitary after fighting another inmate over a pen. This guy's life is really coming together. Not bad enough that he's in the pen for murder, but now he's in the hole. A male cheerleader at the University of Kentucky charged with raping a female student in the dorms. He was? He obviously didn't tell the cops that he was a male cheerleader, or they would have let him go immediately. Diamondbacks third baseman Matt Williams broke his leg in spring training. That's a shame. Nolan Richardson melted down on the press and was run. 2 U.S. Secret Service agents lost detailed plans on Vice President Dick Cheney's security detail. A kid in a souvenir store found the plans. Good to see that they tightened up security for the VP. I mean, who was his security detail? Barney Fife? A high school kid sued the school district after members of the football team teabagged him. They held him down while other members of the team rubbed their scrotums on his face. Yeah, but I'm sure it made him a much better football player. A high school wrestling coach in Indiana bit the head off a bird to motivate the team. Motivate? How does killing an animal motivate someone? Dude was fired. Good. The only one motivated were the other birds to stay the hell away from that coach. Made it to March. When we come back, we go to March. It is the year in review for the year 2002, both in the jungle and in the world of sports. We continue with this, and we'll do so on Monday as well. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Jim Rome Show.
Fox Sports. AM 1150.
Donut/crack update. I jumped in. They took what was left of them, went to the kitchen, where I predict the premier scavengers will kill the remains of the box in about 4 seconds flat. Moving on to the month of March. Virginia upset Duke in college basketball, allowing me to break out the Pete Gillen Duke is Duke drop for the 5th year in a row.
Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
Duke is Duke. They're on TV. More than Leave It to Beaver. Reruns. 2 people were found murdered in former heavyweight champ Hasim Rahman's car. That's not good. But no matter how bad the dead guys looked, they probably looked better than Rahman after that thing grew from his head later in the year. More to come. A group of Philadelphia Eagle cheerleaders sued the NFL because players were leering at them through holes cut in the dressing room doors. They do know they're cheerleaders, right? Just checking. Jeff Kent got busted for lying to the team about breaking his wrist. He told them that he did it falling off of his monster porn-mobile at a car wash. Turns out he did it doing wheelies on his porn cycle. So not only does the guy have a terrible mustache, he's a liar. Good guy. And this thing got ugly on him. His GM called him out. His owner called him out. Stop lying. No wonder nobody wanted to sign that guy. Mariners outfielder Mark McLemore got into a fist fight with the manager of a Best Buy. The manager in question, 6'3", 330, and 20 years of age. The manager of an electronics store was overweight? No way. If this guy goes over 3 bills at 20, the future is not bright. Celebrity boxing made its debut. Good thing, too. I know the public was clamoring for a Greg Brady, Danny Bonaducci bout. I know that we all needed to see Tanya Harding smash the reconstructed beak off of Hoover Paula Jones's face. A minor league team in Maryland wanted to have Osama bin Laden bobblehead night. Thankfully, somebody who was not insane decided to kill that idea. While conducting one of our several John Feinstein interviews during the year, his daughter Bridget started playing the drums. Hey, John, are you playing the drums or is somebody else?
Jim, forget my daughter in the background.
Yeah, I thought somebody was playing the drums.
That's my daughter.
That's all right.
She's playing her older brother's drums.
She's good. She's good.
She's talented. As
Then
you
she
can
has
tell.
potential. I can hear it. Hey, John, will your daughter take requests?
I'm sorry. Wait 1 second, Jim.
Bridget! Stop.
I apologize.
Bridget! A British skier was stripped of his silver medal for being on meth. I guess the mullet and all the kids with rat tails tipped off the authorities. How about Colorado Rocky GM Dan O'Dowd coming in? That was solid. He talked about rebuilding a bridge with the jungle, which I did appreciate. And he talked about the value of chemistry. He had a lot of success in Cleveland. He's obviously a very talented guy, very well thought of. But the point that you just made, that John Hart feels, that chemistry is a byproduct of talent, do you personally agree with that?
No. Although I do agree with the fact, Jim, that you can't, I've never been in a happy clubhouse on a leadership team, let me say that. That just doesn't work. But I do believe that you can create the sum of something greater than individual parts. And if you bring in the right group of players, that care more about the team than they do their own individual personal statistics, you can create something that can really work well and work over a long period of time.
Solid. I've never been in a happy clubhouse on a horseshoe team. It's my man Dan O'Dowd. I wouldn't give up on them yet. Duke basketball player, and this one's been heavily requested. Duke basketball player Reggie Love went to a party in Chapel Hill, home of the Tar Heels. He himself teabagged. He got so drunk that he passed out. That's when Tar Heel fan took over. They dropped crank on his face, graffitied his grill, took pictures, and posted them on the internet. Well done, Love. Well done, Tar Heel fan. Anna Nicole Smith, awarded $89 million by a judge. She got that amount from her 89-year-old dead husband's estate. She used the fortune to parlay that into one of the worst TV shows ever. Well done, you obese, drug-addicted, gold-digging pig. You should be very proud of yourself. And your assistant. She's hot. A woman. You haven't had very many requests for this one. A woman, a nurse in Texas, accused of hitting a hobo with her car. Wait, there's more. She continued to drive with said hobo stuck in the windshield. She drove him home, left him lodged in the window, and went inside to have sex with her boyfriend. The hobo eventually died, and 2 days later, she dumped the body in the park. That, of course, continues to be one of the hot subjects on the show. Thank you for nothing. Although I did like the one about maybe the guy was just stuck to the car with his greasy hobo rag. Yeah, that was real funny. Remember, we had a little controversy earlier in the year in St. Louis with the show, the station, and what was going on there. Even Bob Costas jumped in. St. Louis resident Bob Costas. Bob, how are you?
And you know, Romy,
Yes,
that
Bob.
last credit, St. Louis resident, is not quite as proud a claim as it used to be, since the jungle has been chopped down in St. Louis, and it has greatly diminished my quality of life.
Yeah, I'm not real happy to hear it myself. Now, Bob, I've been working it on my end. Have you done anything? Ask not what the jungle can do for you, Bob, but what you as a St. Louis resident can do for the jungle. What's going on?
Believe me, I have extended many a vine in the right direction. I personally beseeched the program director in question and received an explanation which was logical from his standpoint but didn't satisfy me. So we're still trying.
And would you mind sharing that explanation, which was logical to him but unsatisfying to you?
Carrying local programming, even if it's very much like the programming you could hear in any other time slot in the 24-hour cycle, talking about the Cardinals, talking about the Blues. Not that there is an interest in that, but you've got the whole 21 remaining hours in a day that the Jim Rome Show wouldn't be on for that to take place. Talking about that allows them to sell more local spots and also allows them to originate from places around town where I guess they get trade-off deals with that restaurant, that sporting goods store, that sort of thing, and they can put on their local buddies and get some benefit from that.
And Bob, I can imagine that he may have had a tough decision to make. I can see where he's coming from. After all, why would you want to leave a show on the air whose ratings had increased 160%?
Go figure. Hey, if they can take off Nightline, then they can take off the Jim Rome Show, I guess.
That is true.
What is the world coming to?
Bob Costas calling the monkey in St. Louis personally, demanding an explanation as to why the show was not on, and we are back. It's still, to me, one of the highlights of the year. Thank you for that, Bob. And the mighty Gauchos from UC Santa Barbara made an appearance in the NCAA basketball tournament. Gauchos everywhere rejoiced, including former Gaucho player Paul Johnson, who, by the way, has the premier shoe store in Los Angeles, Escapa.
Everybody's doing well, man. We're just hanging in, and like I said, we're extremely happy for you and Travis, and listen to you guys every day and just continue, much success with you.
Hey, Paul, I appreciate that. Listen, what are you doing now?
Right now, Jim, I was telling Travis, I'm in the retail now. I have a shoe store in Santa Barbara, and that one's for strictly women's. And then we have another store in L.A., interestingly, at the Bonaventure Hotel, and the name of the store is Escapa, and it's men and women's shoes. And I sell a lot of shoes to NBA players. We go up to size 17. We special order up to 22. So we have the Lakers and Clippers locked down, and then when the guys from other teams come into town, I have people that just take the shoes to the hotel. So I'm doing pretty good, man.
Hey, my man PJ not only has the finest shoe store in Los Angeles, arguably the best Gaucho player ever, with the possible exception of Eric MacArthur. And depending on the time of day, I'd go either way. But PJ's right there in the discussion. Class guy, he was a great player. Go to his shoe store. All right, when we come back, more. The Year in Review continues. In Los Angeles, I am Jim Rome, and this is the Premier Radio Networks. Keep in mind, we're only in March. Out.
You're listening to The Jim Rome Show.
LA is the sports town. Fox Sports, AM 1150.
German Sex Cannibal and XR4 TI takes. War Canadian Tour stop not in Toronto. GURP in Vancouver. GURP. The Crew is in July. The Sex Cannibals in December. I'm not going out of sequence for you, GURP. Ruben Rivera. We're still in March. Ruben Rivera was accused of being a thief and kicked off the Yankees for ripping Derek Jeter's glove. Well done, Rube. From can't-miss prospect to petty thief. Good luck in your future shoplifting career. He was making $700,000 and he pissed it away to steal a glove. Jim Shea, Olympic medalist, told high school students to go out and drink just to be sure that they not mess up their faces. Sound advice from the Olympian. You might remember USC basketball coach Henry Bibby, preparing to leave for the NCAA tournament, had to cut off an interview abruptly. You made it to the Elite Eight last year. You lost in the regional final to Duke last year. I know you'll tell me you're taking them, Henry, one game at a time, but assuming that you have to play Duke again, will the team be that much better prepared for this game because it played Duke in this situation last year?
Hey, Jim, as we talk, my shoes are being taken off now for the clearance to go in the airplane. I got to go. Hopefully we can resume this another time. I would love to, okay?
All right, Henry, good luck with your shoes. If I don't talk to you before then, good luck with your first-round matchup. I guess that'll happen. I think everything worked out with his shoes. Clyde Drexler came in studio in the month of March, and among other things, called John Stockton and Karl Malone dirty players. There's nobody like Karl, man. This is a guy that's going to speak his mind. He's put his time in. This guy's made himself arguably the greatest power forward of all time. The league will never see a guy like that ever again. Where do you come out on Karl? For instance, Clyde, do you think he's a dirty player?
I know he's a dirty player, Jim, but I like to have him on my team. Kind of like Rodman, Lambeer. Those guys are dirty, quite obviously, but they're really, really good at it.
Is John Stockton a dirty player?
Absolutely.
Of course he is.
There's no doubt, but he's darn good.
Nice job, Clyde. This was one of the best stories of the year. An intramural team at Northern Colorado University used the team name Fighting Whiteys to make a statement against racially insensitive nicknames. They also had the slogan, "Everything is going to be all white," written on their jerseys. That's funny. Darryl Strawberry kicked out of a rehab facility for having sex with other inmates in the closet. He also traded signed baseball memorabilia for smokes. Another fine day in the life of D. Strawberry. Instead of preparing his Hall of Fame speech, he's getting kicked out of rehab. Shaq called Danny Fortson a bum and a high school player. Lefty got a little fatter. Former coach and TV analyst Eddie Fogler had one of the all-time boneheaded moves. He wrote some four-letter words on the TV screen with his telestrator during a commercial break, thinking that he was covered. He wasn't. The TVs in the arena showed the slurs. Well done, Coach. One was blank, 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 sucker. Robert Smith, doing a rare interview, came in and talked about his retirement from the Vikings and Randy Moss. Robert, so what happened? I talked about how the fact you were coming off a great season, you were a free agent to be, you stood to make millions of dollars off a new deal, but you left all the money on the table, abruptly retiring. How come?
Well, you know, I've said it before that it's better to walk away early than to limp away from the game late. I mean, it's a brutal game on your body, and I always thought it was kind of an odd situation when you would say that I was the smartest guy in the NFL. The catch-22, because maybe the smartest guy in the NFL would realize that he shouldn't be in the NFL.
One of my favorite guys to rap with. And Robert Smith was the smartest guy in the NFL. And if he ever does come back, he will once again be the smartest guy in the NFL. Different cat. And I mean that in a very good way. Derek Bell announced that he would commence Operation Shutdown and ride off into the sunset on his yacht if he was not guaranteed a starting job with the Pirates. He had hit 173 the previous season. Loser. Operation Shutdown, though, that was great. A high school basketball team had to forfeit the remainder of their season when one of their players defecated on the shower room floor of a rival school. The coach called off the season when nobody would confess. did they ask Najee Davenport's little brother. The Liza Minnelli wedding. Liza, the gay dude she married, Jacko, Liz, Diana Ross, Fat, all of them under a single roof. You couldn't come up with a better freak show if I gave you 1,000 years. That place makes the Star Wars bar look like the White House. Don't ask me why, but this was a personal highlight of the year for me. I liked it very much. They finally arrested Beretta, the LAPD, as always, right on top of things. The guy greased her about a year ago, and finally in March he gets arrested. Dexter Manley arrested in Houston for trying to swallow a gram of cocaine during a drug bust. I think it was the only time that I ever actually mentioned the man, but he emailed just about every single day. This was the only time, though, there was ever a story. I get asked quite a bit, who are your favorite interviews? Well, for the record, my favorite interview. He's a pain in the ass to run down. It takes about a year to find the guy, but over the years, the one guy who has stood out above everybody else, and there have been so many great ones, of course, Mark Grace. You've got a million baseball stories. You told one recently that you've never told on the program. Tell me about the time that your boy Rick Sutcliffe was getting bombed in Cincinnati. He gave up a couple of bombs.
Gosh.
What happened?
I will gladly tell this one on Sutcliffe. This was back quite a few years ago. Sutcliffe's pitching in Cincinnati, and for anybody that's ever been to Cincinnati, I apologize if you've been there, but anybody that's been there, they shoot off fireworks every time a Red hits a home run. They shoot off fireworks. So Eric Davis goes way back, boom, 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 fireworks everywhere, and then Paul O'Neill gets up there and he hits one even further, boom, 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 up in the second deck. So fireworks everywhere, and Billy Connors, our pitching coach at the time, was a wonderful guy. Comes, he's a little bit overweight, so he comes waddling out to the mound, and Sutcliffe he's some kind of pissed off, and I'll leave out the F-bombs, but he basically told Billy Connors, I know what the F I'm doing. Get your fat ass out of here, back in the dugout, and tell Zimmer in there, keep his bald ass under control too, because I got everything taken care of out here. So Billy stands right there on the mound, looks him straight in the eye, and says, Rick, I know you have everything under control. I just wanted to come out here and give that guy running the fireworks a little more time to reload.
Great. Perfect.
I did. I'm on the mound and I'm blowing a snot bubble. I'm trying not to laugh too hard. So and then Sutcliffe, who was like he's like the Randy Johnson, the warrior, the tough guy out on the mound, and he even had to snicker at that one.
Great baseball story. Gracie on Sut. Hey, remember the one-armed bandit? I did a take on some scumbags who stole a one-armed golfer's fake arm. Turns out the guy is a listener. And we had the bandit on the show, and he said the moral of the story is do not leave your arm in the car. It's great advice. So what you're telling me, Larry, and I mean no disrespect at all when I say this, what you're telling me is it's specially made, it's one of a kind. If somebody goes into your car and takes it, it's not like you can go down to Big Five and get another one.
It doesn't work that way. Whoever has it, unless they've got a good-looking nub like mine, it's not going to work there, Jim.
Larry Alford, the bandit, good guy. Good guy. Also last year, Dante Bichette retired. Nobody cared. Didn't quite make it to April. Finishing up March, and we will do so when we come back. The year in review. Obviously, we're going to need another day, and even that might not get it done. More of that when we return. We will continue on Monday. Also, I will be off until January 6th. During that time, John Feinstein, Roger Lodge, Sean Jones, and 2 Skip Bayless programs, and a few best-ofs. We'll come right back. Stay tuned.
We're listening.
Continuing with our year in review, we're still in the month of March. One of our favorite stories of the year, we discovered the Hidden Valley Golf Club in Norco, California. Discovered that it had hookers on the course. Best golf course in America. Who cares what you shoot if you're going to get oral sex at the turn? We were also introduced to butt ball, a game played by firefighters in Littleton, Colorado, where they throw a tennis ball at wind chimes until everybody has hit the chimes but one. Then the loser has to drop the ball into a latex glove and insert the ball while they do the dishes. For everyone's sake, I think that they should let a band of arsonists loose in Littleton. David Faraday, another one of our best guests of the year, came on the program and discussed profanity on the golf course. Dave, the thing is, I think what makes you so appealing, or part of what makes you so appealing to people, is you understand that it is not life and death out there. That's why we like to listen to you.
Well, no, it's not life and death, and that's one of the things that concerns me about this recent sort of spate of criticism against PGA Tour players about their behavior. You know, I'm reading stuff that, you know, they're going to crack down on bad language and club throwing. You know, I mean, if John Daly throws it into his driver into the lake at Sawgrass, I mean, some people might consider that to be bad behavior. I just think it's great TV. When John McEnroe quit, you know?
David, cussing and throwing golf clubs is as much a part of golf as putting and hitting out of the bunker, right?
Well, of course it is. You know, and players are actually much better behaved now than they were years ago. Microphones are the big improvement here, and that's what gets them caught. But I think, you know, it's a matter of opinion. Obviously, people are worried about, well, we know we've got to protect the children. But I'm reading this book that I wrote, which it's not exactly delicate in places to my children. My two boys are 8 and 13. And if I can't explain, you know, why they said that word, well, then I don't think I'm doing my job properly as a parent. There's the right place, you know, to say that sort of thing, and there's the wrong place. And the right place is the golf course.
David Faraday. All-pro defensive back Dale Carter, fresh off signing a 5-year, $28 million deal, declared for bankruptcy. Don't even ask, because I don't know how either. Softball guy made an appearance. Remember Charles J. Mitchell? He was the 34-year-old softball guy who attacked a 74-year-old World War II vet who was umpiring. The ump was making $19 per game. Yet that's worth it. You might be the worst person ever if you beat up a 74-year-old World War vet who's umpiring a softball game for $19. Another softball guy shot himself in the leg with a .357. Great. Of course that's what we need. Armed softball guy. Moving into April, the Maryland Terrapins won the NCAA basketball championship over Indiana. Fans of both teams celebrated / commiserated by destroying their cities. Well done. The U.S. soccer team started to get good. That, of course, bad news. We were ranked ahead of Italy and Mexico in the world rankings. And they like soccer. The entire memorabilia industry went nuts. Some guy picked up a piece of chewed gum from Luis Gonzalez and tried to sell it on the internet. Only thing worse, several thousand people bid on it. Losers. Ken Griffey Jr. got hurt again. The Reds sucked, and his career continues its amazing decline. Several months later, the team will try and deal him for Phil Nevin, only to have Nevin block the deal when it was done. Miguel Asensio made his Major League debut for Kansas City. Not a good one. 4 hitters, 16 consecutive balls, no strikes, and he was yanked from the game. I wouldn't look for Miguel in the Hall of Fame anytime soon. Phil Garner got canned. This touched off just about every manager in the league, in the major leagues, getting sacked by the end of the season. 15 in all. Craig Biggio hit for the cycle in Coors Field. Pretty cool, except that it was in Coors Field. Hell, Alex Cora could hit for the cycle in Coors Field. One of our favorite guys ever. Well, maybe not Alex Cora. Maybe Tom Goodwin. Well, maybe not Tom Goodwin. One of our favorite guys ever, literally ever, Lance Berkman of the Astros, came on the program and talked about his Mickey Morandini mullet. Hey, Lance, what about you and Drayton? Have you gotten together to talk about your mullet lately? When is that coming off?
You know, it's not a true mullet, because the true mullet is business in the front, party in the back, and mine is pretty much long all over. It doesn't have the redneck flat top with the hair coming out the back. So I don't know. I've just kind of been playing around with it, and my wife likes it, so I guess I'll keep it for a little bit longer.
Bro, you can call it whatever you want, but it appears to the rest of us that it's a mullet.
Okay.
What's your wife think about that?
She likes it. he does. It looks like like I said, it looks like a mullet under the baseball cap, but
it's not a true. It's not a true mullet.
No, and it's not in the championship caliber mullets like say a Mickey Morandini or somebody like that.
Great. Lance Berkman is a phenomenal guy. Love that guy. Chuck Finley suffered a beatdown at the hands of his wife, Tawny Katane. She was on crank. Apparently kicked him in the head with her high heel shoes. She then accused him of being on the juice, so he countered with claims that she's a druggie and a bad mother. Nice couple. Going to the athlete wives scoreboard, athlete 6, wives 3. Police recovered over $600,000 worth of furs that were stolen from Riddick Bowe's house by his cousins. Nice family. Later in the year, Riddick tossed into jail for kidnapping his family. How about Don Cherry? Don Cherry, the voice of Hockey Night in Canada, came in and talked about fighting in the NHL. Hey, Don, you think the fighting is down, and that's not a good thing?
Well, the fighting is, as I've said before, if you don't have fighting in a game, they don't have fighting in. And, I know some people are listening down in West Virginia or something that don't understand hockey.
Nice West Virginia blast, Don. That was nice.
Yeah, I know. I get that in every once in a while, that poor guy down there.
Put it this way, Don. It's always better to get punched in the face with a fist than it is to have an eyeball carved out with the blade of a stick.
You got it. And if you don't have that, you have hitting from behind, which is dangerous. This is a tough physical sport. And if you can't, you have some little wee shrimp with a mask on challenging you because you can't fight. You know what you're going to do the first chance you get to this guy with the stick. And it's a sad thing. And I know some of the tree huggers out there don't believe me, but I've been in the game a long time.
You got a tree hugger blast, a West Virginia blast. Safe to assume that Don Cherry will be in again in 03. All right, we're stuck in April. The year in review continues. Hour number 3 when we come back. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'm Jim Rome, and this is the Premier Radio Networks. Probably won't. We will continue doing the same thing on Monday's program. One noteworthy story in baseball today. The Philadelphia Phillies made a trade for Kevin Millwood. After being denied Tom Glavine, Jamie Moyer, and a couple of others, they end up with 18-game winner Kevin Millwood for backup catcher Johnny Estrada. So Philadelphia had to get an arm, and they did. Big pickup for them. As far as the year in review, Tiger Woods won the Masters for the 3rd time. Get used to that story. I'll probably be doing it again in about 4 months. This was the start of another ridiculous year for Tiger. Meanwhile, Kevin Brown blew out his elbow for the 48th time in 3 weeks. Slamming Sammy Snead hit a spectator right in the face with the ceremonial first tee shot at the Masters. Hey, guy deserved it. If you stand down the target line of a stroke-riddled 89-year-old man, you get whatever comes to you. The Kenyans won the Boston Marathon. That's also a story that I would expect to hear again next year. A brawl at a Little League game in Northern California got so out of hand that wives were whacking people with baseball bats. Little League baseball. Hard work, teamwork, sportsmanship, competition, violence. Juan Gonzalez went on the DL. Hard to believe. The Detroit Tigers finally won a game after